Let's get started. Good morning, everyone. I'm Chuck Davis with Adaptive Solutions, and I'd like to thank everybody for joining us this morning as we give the gold watch per se to Windows 2003. I'd like to start today's presentation with just some general welcomes and introductions. Myself, Chuck Davis, I am the president and one of the co-founding shareholders of Adaptive Solutions. I've been in the legal IT industry since 1990. Joining me this morning is our Chief Technology Officer, Todd Barretts. Todd has also been in this business for many, many years and oversees our high-level engineering and architecting of network upgrades. I'm going to pause for a minute, and Todd, let you say good morning to the group this morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Todd. What I would like to do is just give you guys a brief agenda of what we're going to cover this morning and then take you through a little bit of webinar housekeeping. For this morning's session, we're going to be talking a little bit about Adaptive as a company, just to introduce some of you to our firm. We're going to spend some time decoding the Microsoft support lifecycle and also digging into what are some of the challenges that typically hold a law firm up from making the leap from Server 2003 up to the newer versions of Windows 2012. We're also going to pause to talk about some questions and answers to see if we can answer any of those lingering questions that you have that may be holding you back from making this upgrade happen. And at the end of the session, we will have a small prizes and question and answer pop quiz session. So please take notes along the way. There will be some gift cards that we're giving out at the end of the session. Just some general housekeeping. The phone lines are muted for this morning's webinar. We do expect to run very close to 30 minutes, if not just a couple of minutes over. If you have any questions during the session, please submit them through the GoToWebinar chat panel off on the right-hand side of your screen. And after today's session is finished, we will be recording it today, and it will be available on Adaptive Solutions' website, www.adaptivesolutions.com. We expect to have that published before the end of the day in case you would want to reference the content again or perhaps share it with someone who was not able to make this morning's session. Just very briefly, for some of you that don't know who we are, Adaptive is a leading provider of legal IT services in the legal community. We've been doing this since 1998, going on 16 years. Our team consists of 50-plus employees, and we service approximately 350 law firms and corporate law departments. Much like the law firms that you work in by design, we are broken into what we call practice areas or practice groups with a strong focus on the engineering field, the top one today, which is where we do all of our work specific to server upgrades, storage, virtualization, and where your Windows 2003 and 2012 upgrades would fall. We are a full-featured integration company. About the only thing that we don't do is pull wire through walls. We do everything from document management systems with a strong focus on products like HP Autonomy and NetDocuments, all the way through and including cloud and managed services and learning and development services. We're also a very long-time partner and a proud supporter of the Association of Legal Administrators and also a gold sponsor of ILTA, and would look forward to meeting anybody at Las Vegas at conference this coming summer in August. So into the details of today's presentation, we wanted to start a little bit with the Microsoft Support Lifecycle Policy and kind of decoding it a little bit for those of you that find it a little confusing. To be honest, we as business partners sometimes find it a little difficult to understand. At a 10,000-foot view, in general, it runs for an approximate 10-year life cycle, which in the legal industry and in the IT industry, for that matter, is really a long time. And it's broken into two major buckets, the first of which is mainstream support, and the second is the extended support phase. While I'm not going to steal Todd's thunder, he'll go a little bit deeper as to what the no support phase means after you reach the end of life cycle. I'll talk a little bit about what the two phases mean from a general standpoint. Mainstream support typically lasts for 5 years from the inception date of the product or software, and during that time it includes all of your updates, your patches, it includes complementary support and paid incidents if you should need them. When you move into the second half of support lifecycle, which is extended support, that typically lasts an additional 5 years or 2 years from the date of release of a successor product. That often can happen as well. During the second phase, you do lose complementary support, meaning that paid incidents are still available to you, and requests for change in product design features are officially retired in that second phase. Speaking about service packs, typically service packs that are released are usually supported for 24 months from the date of the last service pack release or terminated at the end of the life of a product status that is reached, such as what's happening with Windows Server 2003. No support, as Todd will go into, pretty much means no support. If you'd like to learn a little bit more or decode the frequently asked questions on the product lifecycle support, please visit the URL below, support.microsoft.com/ENUS lifecycle, and you can do a little bit more digging on those points on your own. The next slide is a little bit of an eye chart, if you will. It's a little small to read, but I think we can break it down. It gives a good understanding of what the support lifecycle looks like. If you look on the left side, I believe it's the second item from the bottom, you'll see where we stand today with Server 2003 R2 Standard Edition. That product went into inception in March of 2006. It entered the mainstream support lifecycle ending on July 13 of 2010, and as we all know, it's targeted to be retired through extended support on July 14th of 2015, and the service pack support ended a long time ago. If you switch over to the right-hand side and move up 3 from the bottom, we look at its close cousin, which is Windows Server 2012 R2, and that product obviously went into lifecycle start in 2013. Mainstream support is still available until January of 2018, and more importantly, we'll have extended support available until January of 2023. So what we're looking at is approximately another 7.5 years of full coverage on the Windows 2012 server platform, which is good for us as technologists. In the legal market, generally speaking, we see anywhere from an aggressive 3 to 4 year to a more conservative 4 to 6 year life cycle of server hardware and operating systems. So if you do plan to upgrade to 2012, you should be able to wring the full 7.5 years out of that operating system, if not do an upgrade sooner than that. The bottom line here, and the message that we'd like to set, is that you just don't want to wait. A lot of us might remember last year when Microsoft Windows XP reached its retirement date on April 8th of 2014. So very soon after that, I believe it was a week or two after, the announcement was made and the discovery was made of the Internet Explorer zero-day exploit. And during that time, Microsoft was a little bit considerate and actually released a fix for Windows XP. They've told us as consumers and business partners that we should not expect that to be the norm moving forward, so we want to make sure that we don't leave you or the firm in a difficult position. The final slide that I'll talk to before I hand off to Todd is what we're calling the clock is ticking. You guys have about 111 days counting today to get off. So the proverbial lifeboats are boarding and it's time to abandon ship. If you still have Server 2003 or small business server running in your data centers or on your computer rooms, now is the time to start thinking through those operating system and infrastructure challenges of how you're going to move to the next system. The first phases usually are easy. Todd will talk about them. Migrating to storage and virtualization layers are the easy parts. Usually people get a little bit more concerned about the actual operating system and application upgrades. And with that, I'm going to transfer to the next slide and ask Todd to take us through a little bit of what this all means from a technical standpoint. Todd, if you would please.
Thank you very much, Chuck. So what does end of support mean? Well, the first thing that it means is that there will be no more updates. And in 2013, Microsoft released, I think, 37 critical updates for Server 2003. As of the end of support, there'll be no more updates. So any critical flaws, any problems, they won't be patched anymore. It also means no compliance. So if you are going to be audited, you're not going to pass an audit because you are running an unsupported operating system. There is also no safe haven, which means that it doesn't matter whether you're running 2003 on a physical server or a virtual server, there's going to be no support. The impact also includes Microsoft Small Business 2003. So if it's got 2003 in the name, you're going to lose support, whether it's the Standard Edition, the Enterprise Edition, the Small Business Edition, all of them are going to be out of support. In addition, it's going to increase your operations costs. What you're going to see is, for those of you running applications or integrated systems with your 2003, every time a patch is released for one of those applications or you're looking to upgrade, you're going to find it becomes a lot more difficult to support and make things work on that 2003 operating system because, frankly, No one's going to be supporting it. No one's going to be developing for it. No one's going to be testing on it. So you're going to have an increasingly difficult time getting things to run. And if you don't believe me, just try and get an XP box to run with today's current applications and get drivers that'll work for current products. You will see that 2003 becomes increasingly difficult to work with. So the important point here is that now is the time to act. If you're going to look to make the move, do it now while you still have the support, so that if you run into problems, you can always go back to the vendor, Microsoft, and get some help. Next slide, please, Chuck. So if you're going to be looking to move to 2012, and most of you should be, the first thing you're going to want to be aware of is that Server 2012 is going to require more powerful hardware. And that's pretty much true of every operating system and every release that Microsoft makes, is that everything requires more memory, faster processors, and Server 2012 is no different. You'll need a little more memory and a little more processor. You can choose whether you're going to move all of your systems over to new physical hardware, or if you want to virtualize on an existing server. So if you have a virtualization platform, whether it's Hyper-V, Zen Server, or VMware ESX, or you could think about relocating to the cloud, such as an Office 365 move. If you decided that your Exchange 2007 server that is running on your Windows 2003 box is just something you don't want to deal with anymore, the cloud might be an attractive solution. You could reduce your digital footprint and have fewer things to support, but yet move over to the latest and greatest and maintain compatibility and support for your products. So what are the top reasons to move to Server 2012? Well, the first thing, and this depends on the version of 2012 you're going to run, you can get an Essentials dashboard or the new Server Manager. And this is not the Server Manager that you had in Server 2003. This is actually a usable system that can help you deploy, configure, and release your new Server 2012 system. It actually will take you step by step through the configuration process, so it's a significantly improved product, and it's built right into Server 2012. Next point, please, Chuck. Hyper-V Replica. This is something new, and for those of you that are running 2003, you don't even have Hyper-V, but Hyper-V, which is not only a significantly improved product on Server 2012, has something that allows you to replicate your VMs over to another Hyper-V host, either in your current data center or in a remote data center, say a DR location, and you can choose how you're going to replicate, either every 30 seconds, every 5 minutes, or every 15 minutes. It gives you a lot of power, and it's all built right into the operating system, all available for your use. In addition, what you get if you're running Hyper-V and you have say a standard edition or a data center edition, Microsoft gives you a certain number of free virtual guests that you can run. So if you are running the standard edition of Server 2012, you are actually authorized to run 2 additional standard edition Server 2012 VMs on that box using Hyper-V for free. And if you have the data center edition on your server, you actually get an unlimited number of server guests. And that is a really nice feature that comes along with your Server 2012 operating system. Another thing that you get in Server 2012 that didn't exist in the older versions of Windows is data deduplication and storage tiering. It allows you to reduce waste and lets you use your storage a lot more efficiently than you could in the Server 2003 days. And next point, please, Chuck. And then shared nothing live migration. This is an interesting feature. It allows you, if you're running 2 standalone Hyper-V servers in your environment, you have a VM on one server and you want to move it to the other, you can do that without any shared storage like a SAN. Now keep in mind, if you have a VM with a lot of storage, it could take a long time to move that VM from one host to another, because you effectively have to copy that storage from the first host over to the second host, but it still provides a lot of value in that you can move your systems around without having to invest in that expensive storage. Next slide, please, Chuck. Okay, so overcoming the hurdles to migration. Things like printing. You had your 2003 server set up for a number of years and you've been tweaking it and now you've got it exactly where you want it. Say you have your printers on there and everybody's printing just fine. If you have to move your printers, it's going to wreak havoc on your users. Well, it doesn't have to. There are tools, many of which are built into Server 2012, like the Print Migrator. And no, this is not the Print Migrator 3 that was available on Server 2003. This is a vastly improved product that will basically take all of your print drivers, all of your printers, all of the configurations, it will bundle them up, it will move them from your 2003 server over to your 2012 server and deploy them. And it's not going to take 60% of them like it did back in the 2003 days. It actually will work and bring everything over so that you don't have to go through all of the headaches of setting up all of your printers again. Next point, please, Chuck. Website migration. If you have a 2003 server and you've got a number of critical websites on there, the last thing you want to do is go through a migration where your website's going to be up and down while you're doing this migration. It doesn't have to be. There are a number of tools out there. Many of them are free. The one I like to use is MS Deploy. It's from Microsoft. It's a command line tool, and it can go out and look at your IIS server on 2003 and package up one or all of the websites that you have running on your server, move them over to the 2012 server and deploy them. And that takes everything, all of the data, all of the configurations, the whole nuts and bolts, and get your website up and running. It can do it very, very quickly. It is a great tool, and it means that the website doesn't have to be down for a long time in order to do that migration. Next point, please. How about files? Copying all of your files. You won't know if you've copied them all. Again, another built-in tool to Windows Server 2012 is called RoboCopy. It allows you to mirror a file system from one server to another, and if so configured, will set up a log so that you can see what files are copied and, more importantly, what files are not copied, so that you can go back and see what was missed and why it was missed. That way you know for a fact, and you will have proof that you have brought over your entire file structure. Next point, please. Names and IP addresses. I don't want to change my server's IP address. I have a lot of scripts. I have a lot of policies that I've set up, and I don't want to be able to have to root around and change them all. Well, you don't have to. There is actually a way, a tool, another one built into Microsoft's 2012 operating system called NetDOM, that will allow your new server to emulate the name of the old server. So you could have a new server and it will respond to the name and the IP address of the old server. All of your scripts, all of your policies will continue to work, and everyone will continue to have access to their files. Next point, please, Chuck. Radius. I have a domain controller with Radius set up, and I've got a firewall that points to it for my VPN, or maybe I have wireless access points that do their authentication through my Radius setup, which in 2003 is called IIS. Again, there are command line tools that are available for free that will package up all of your IIS settings, including the passwords, and bring them over to 2012 and deploy them so that you don't have to reset all of those passwords. You don't have to remember everything and put them all in and do all that configuration by hand. All of it can be scripted out. So next steps. The first thing, you want to get started today. Migrating a server like 2003 with a lot of things on it can be very complicated. You want to take the time to plan out your migration so that it will go smoothly and be done in time to meet your deadline. Take advantage of all of the new tools and features that are available, not just bundled with the operating system, but that Microsoft offers for free that you can use to migrate all of the things that you have deployed, whether it's IIS, whether it's Radius, whether it's just a file server, whether it's printers. There are ways to make these migrations a lot less painful if you use these free tools. And then explore your resources. Get together with your partner or your trusted advisor, someone who's been through this before. Don't go down this road alone. Work with somebody who can help you make the transition. Next slide, please. And Chuck, with that, I will turn it over to you.
Great job, Todd. I think that was a great high-level overview of some of the issues that most firms consider when they're getting ready to make this conversion happen. And hopefully we answered at least one or two of the questions today that are in your mind. But if we haven't, I'd like to take this opportunity to open up the floor for actual questions through the chat panel on the right-hand side. Todd and I usually pause here to let people submit some questions, so we'll take a break and see if anybody has any that are going to come in today. So if you do have a question, please feel free to ask them now. Okay, it looks like we have one coming in, Todd. Someone is asking that you mentioned Hyper-V. They want to know how it stacks up against VMware.
Well, that is an interesting question. Microsoft, I believe, has invested about $1 billion in building up Hyper-V over the last couple of years, and they've made huge strides in Server 2012's Hyper-V. Right now, from a performance standpoint, it is on par with what VMware offers with ESX and is quickly achieving feature parity. Now, there are still a number of features that ESX offers that you don't have in the VM or in the Hyper-V package, but all of the important things are there. You know, you have the live migration, you have your DR configuration with the Hyper-V replica, and you certainly have the performance. So I would say that, you know, Hyper-V is definitely a major contender, and because of what they offer from a licensing standpoint, becomes very attractive from a deployment scenario. So if you're looking to virtualize, if you're all physical today, you should definitely consider looking at Hyper-V as a solution.
Great, Todd. We have one more that I see coming in. Someone's asking if you can dive a little deeper on the concepts of robocopy, and NetDog.
You mean NetDOM?
I believe NetDOM is what he meant to type, or she meant to type, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, well, Robocopy is a command line tool, although I do believe there is a free download from Microsoft that will drop a GUI on top of it. I usually use it from the command line, but it has quite a few tools, and it's basically Xcopy on steroids. But one of the things that I use typically is a switch called MIR, which is mirror, which will allow me to take a source and a destination and mirror them. And you can have that with or without the security, so it will bring over all of the security and it will bring over all of the files, and then you can specify a log to drop that on, so it will tell you everything that was copied, and at the bottom gives you a summary of everything that was copied, how many files, and whether or not anything was not copied in the failed column. And that will effectively allow you to transition from one server to another. In addition, you can run it multiple times, and if you have that MIR switch, the second time it runs, it just runs a delta. So you won't be doing, if you have, say, a file share with a terabyte of data, you only copy that terabyte the first time. The second time you run it, it will just copy only changed files. It makes it run significantly faster, and it means that when you're getting ready to do a migration, you don't have to do the copy the night of the migration. You can do it weeks ahead, and then just every night or every week, you run a delta migration until the time that you're ready to cut over, and you run a final delta. That way it runs a lot quicker. You're not there all night. It's really a great tool, and I use it all the time. Hopefully that answers the robocopy question. As far as the NetDOM goes, what you would do to make a second server, let's call it FS2, respond to the name of FS1. Well, you move everything over, right? You put all of your files over there. You set up your shares. When it's all done, you shut down FS1 and you kick it out of Active Directory users and computers, and you run this NetDOM tool and you run it with the right set of parameters. What it will do is it will enter in a second entry into Active Directory users and computers called FS1, which will actually be a copy of FS2. Then you give FS2 a second IP address, which is the IP address of FS1, and now when your users type in FS1, they'll actually be redirected over to FS2's file serving. So you actually have the second server, you keep its name, you keep its IP, all you're doing is you're adding a second name and a second IP to that box, and the NetDOM tool allows you to make it function within Active Directory so that that machine can legitimately respond as that first server. Hopefully that answers at least most of the questions that you had.
I think that was great, Todd. I mean, my experience with those tools is that it streamlines the conversion process. I know that we as a company have been using RoboCopy for quite some time because, like you mentioned, gone are the days of having to cram all of that data from server A to server B over a Friday, Saturday. We can do the bulk migration of that copy in advance and then only do a delta copy over that conversion weekend. So quality of life has gotten a little better for IT professionals with RoboCopy and NetDOM. Great. I'm going to keep us moving just to respect everybody's time. Very quickly, a short snapshot of what's coming up with ASI, Adaptive Solutions. We will be on the road. Tomorrow on March 26th in Philadelphia, we're presenting a joint luncheon with the folks at ProsperoWare regarding document management security in a post-Sony data breach world. If you're local to Philadelphia, it's not too late to sign up. Throughout the month of April, we will be doing a lot of events with the associated chapters of the ALA, the Association of Legal Administrators. On May 7th, we are hosting a charity event for the annual Philadelphia Children's Alliance Bear Fair. We'd love to see you guys come out and support that organization. And last but not least, our next big event coming up for engineering is going to be on May 14th at 11:30, hosted at Fogo de Chao in Philadelphia. It's a great Brazilian steak restaurant. We're doing a joint event with Dell specific to their Apashore product line, which is a new and exciting way to back up, protect, and recover data. And I believe our Director of Engineering, Amy Gaffney, was speaking about repeating that event as a webinar for those of you that are remote and won't be able to make it into the Philadelphia local area. So please check us out if you could. With that, we're going to pause, and we're going to jump into the fun part of the presentation, which you guys have waited for at the end, which is the pop quiz and the door prize drawing for today's session. Just to give everybody an even playing field, the way this works is for the pop quiz, we're going to use the questions panel on the right-hand side. So we're going to have you respond almost Jeopardy style by asking a question but importing the correct answer. And the first person to give us the right answer for the two questions we're going to ask will be the lucky recipient of a $25 American Express gift card, and then we will have a random drawing at the end for a $50 Amex gift card for one person who attended the drawing. So I'm going to give you guys a second to locate your questions panel and get your fastest fingers ready, such as Millionaire. So Todd, I'm stealing this from your presentation today. The first question, during today's presentation, what was the name of the tool that Todd mentioned that will assist with the migrations of websites from 2003 to 2012 format? Can someone question in what the name of that tool was that helps assist with website migrations? And it looks like we have one coming in. I'm going to hope I get this name right. Jonathan Luzerne answered MS Deploy. And Todd, I believe that is the correct answer for that question, right?
It is.
Perfect. So that one, Jonathan, we're going to make sure that we get that gift card out in the mail to you. We'll follow up with you after today's event. And the second question is coming up now, so get your fingers ready again. The second question is, during Todd's presentation, he also discussed a technology with Hyper-V, and he talked about Hyper-V replica syncing VMs to a DR site. What is the frequency, or I should say the most frequent setting, of how fast it can replicate from the primary site to the DR site? And we'll give you guys a couple seconds to answer that one. I thought this one would be the easier one, Todd, but it's taking a little bit longer to get an answer. It looks like we have an answer coming in. Thomas Bradley answered that it's 30 seconds, which is correct. Tom will go ahead and get that gift card out to you for $25. And that concludes the pop quiz. Don't leave yet, though, because we do have the master drawing for the $50 MX gift card. So I'm going to go ahead. During the session, I put everybody's name into a hat, and I'm going to pull out one lucky winner's name. And today's winner of the $50 door prize is, I hope I get this one right, is it Dale Kaslow, K-A-S-L-O-W. Dale, thank you for joining as well today, and we're going to get out to you a $50 American Express gift card for joining today's presentation. And to all the winners and all those that attended today, we appreciate your time. With that, we're going to wrap up and let you know again that today's session was fully recorded. It will be available by close of business at www.adaptivesolutions.com. Please remember to check out our website for this webinar and past webinar information, and we'd love to keep you guys on our list for future events that are coming up. Again, on behalf of myself and Todd Barrett, we thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a great afternoon. Good day.
Yep, thank you.